Hey YouTubes, so in this video today I want to have a chat with you all about customer databases, and I'm going to talk about my own version of that, but also what's got me on to thinking about it, because admittedly I have been very slack on this. I've been terrible on following up from customers, and basically what it is, it's money down the drain, because I've been focused so much on getting new customers, not necessarily about previous customers, and I'll explain as we get going along. I listen to a lot of podcasts, and I also listen to a lot of people on YouTube. I think having as much sort of information as possible is important. Don't just listen to one person, don't just listen to me. I've been doing it it's not that I've been doing it wrong, but I've been missing opportunities, and I'll talk about that as we get going along. So when I started my business, I used to make a note. Well, and this is the thing, when you first start you don't think about it, because you don't get that many inquiries, you don't have many customers, you've got no previous year's worth of work to fall back on or to think about. You start a new slate, and I'll explain a bit towards the end what I'm doing now, which you can definitely implement from the start, which will help you. So when I first started, as I said, I used to concentrate on getting new customers, and I've done that all the time. When a customer reaches out to me in the past, I learned very quickly, don't just take their first name, write it down on your diary or your piece of paper, because you'll lose it. What I used to write it down. So if a customer would ring me, I would write it down I used to have a quoting pad, and it became like a bird's nest. It was just a mess. It was like an amalgamation of half quotes, unfinished quotes, quote pads with like numbers written on the back but with no name. Like, what is that? What use is that? So I quickly learned to save it. So when I was speaking to a customer, I would, if I was in the van or somewhere quiet, I'd put them on loudspeaker, I'd bring up my phone book app, and I would create a contact listing while we're doing it, basically, and add their number there and then, and their name. But that wasn't enough, because I quickly realised if you put, you put Joe Bloggs in, well, you'll remember Joe Bloggs for a while, because you've got to book him in, you've got to go do his work. But next year, or 6 months from then, you're hooped. You only got an idea who Joe Bloggs is, because you've got other Joes in your phone. And trust me, it's like I typed in, I've got 6 Eileens in my phone. It's ridiculous. And I've one of them, I've got Joan like 4 times, but I've got Joan's mother. What use is that? Absolutely zero use. One of the things I used to do, because when I started up, I wish now I would have had a personal number and a personal phone, and I wish I would have had a mobile phone for work. Kept the two separate. I didn't. When I first started, I just had my phone, and it's pretty much stayed like that. So when I first started, I used to save people under the name, Joe Bloggs, and I'd put SGM at the back, and then on my phone, if I wanted to look at my customer numbers, I'd just type in SGM and it'd bring up all the contacts. That was good in principle. What I also started doing recently was Joe Bloggs, and then while I was at it, I said, can I take your address? And I'd save Joe and number 123 Coronation Street. So I'd save his address as well. So when I typed in Joe, I'd have his address there. I didn't have to click onto the contact. That worked out quite well. The limitation that I've found, I don't know what it is, and I've mentioned this a few times before, is Apple, for some reason, love it. I do like the stuff, I find it easy to use, but Apple, for some reason, they like to go every so often, they're like, he's saved X amount of contacts, we'll just delete a few. I don't know why they do it, but I've had no end of contacts just go missing, and it's the most frustrating thing you can imagine. So like I said, you've got to think about that as well. So that brings me up to the current day. So what am I doing differently, and why is it important? I'm creating a database. It's as simple as it sounds, but if you want a follow-up video, I might do one, I might not, showing how it works. Basically, it'll be a Google Doc, and it will be with the hindsight of when a customer rings up, I will, again, if I'm in a quiet space, I'll save the number there and then, of course, but I'll be using this Google Doc to basically compile all of these stupid questions that you ask. You know, I'd say whenever a new customer rings up, what do we ask them? 4 or 5 questions. You know, it's just stuff to sort of set the scene. You know, where do you live? What's your address? So on mine, it'll be name. The name is so important, because if you forget to ask the name, you're turning up and you're calling people mate or whatever, and then you're like, oh, can I just get your name? And it's like, well, I told you that. They might tell you, or they might not even tell you. If you forget to ask or you forget to remember, you look a little bit unprofessional. So I'll always say, well, can I just get your first name, please? Or what's your name? Oh, it's Joe. Oh, hi Joe, my name's Sam. It's that introduction as well. So on this Google Doc, it's going to be name, address. You want their full address and postcode so you can find them. Simple as that. What is it you're calling about? What service you after? You know, what can I do for you? And then just put, if it's for me, gardening, or, you know, for another customer, exterior cleaning. Simple. This is the magic one. While we're at it, do you mind if I just take your email address? You know, yeah, no problem. You know, why do you need an email address? So I can email a quote over to you. And also, every so often, I will do a periodic newsletter. You know, if you mind, I'll just put you on that for that. I can't see many people moaning about it. I do genuinely believe if people are reaching out to you for a quote, advice, chat, you know, whatever these customers do, genuinely it's a quote. They don't mind a follow-up email 3 months later, or a follow-up text message or phone call. You're not spamming them, you're not selling the details. This is purely for you. So compile that, and then next to it I'm going to have another box for notes, and then that is, if I get the job and I get the work, I can then put, like a record, what work I've done for that customer and what price I've charged. Because how many times have you rung up for work the next year, or customers rung you up and said, hi Sam, it's Joe, you did me edges last year, mate, could you come back and get that sorted for me? Yeah, that's no problem. And then you're there on a back foot straight away, because you're like, shit, you know, what did I charge them last year? You know, oh, I'll look at my paperwork, and you find that, and then, you know, you're there remembering, aren't you? But if you've got this data to hand, as in what you did for them last year, you can say, hi Joe, yeah, that's no problem. We'll be looking at charging the same price again last year, or we'll be looking at requoting because it's different. We'll be looking, you know, what's the damage this year, Sam? No problem. You know you charged them 100 last year. We're looking at 110 this year. We're looking at 120 this year. And people like that. I think this day and age now, we need to be as prepared as possible. People don't like waiting for anything. They don't want to ring you up for a quote and say, hi Sam, you know, ringing up for a quote, yeah, no problem, I'll get back to you when I'll get back to you tomorrow, and you forget, or you'll say, yeah, I'll drop you a quote by the end of the week. They don't want it. People want a price. I'll be honest with you, I have it where people, what will it be over the phone? And the majority of times you do need to quote. But if I've done a hedge for a customer last year and they're ringing up again this year, odds on nothing's changed really. It's just got a year's worth of growth. So again, I can look at that price, put what, you know, inflation, market, you know, whatever it'll be, 10%, 20%, and say, yeah, no problem, John, Joe, you know, whatever, we're looking at 120 this year. Okay, I only paid 100 last year. Yes, I understand that, but you know what we're going on, prices and stuff, you know, and it's up to you, and it's up to them. If you did a good job for them last year, they're not going to mind paying that little bit more. And then again, it's up to you. You might say to them, well, look, as you've rung up again, you know, for repeat work, I can keep it at the same price, or you know, or you know, whatever. You can say whatever, but people like that. They definitely don't want to be, oh well, you know, I'll come and give you a price, because you know that £100 that you charged them last year, you've then got to go out and quote again, or quote on a day, or tell them a price there and then, you know, they'll be thinking, well, no, you ain't charged me like that. Trust me, they will remember. So having this data is so essential, and it's so essential for me. And this is where it brings it on to me now, is I have been doing that, but I haven't been doing that. I really wish now I'd have been doing this a lot more. One of the things I'm doing, another thing as well, I can blame myself, but I can also blame Apple or whoever it is, whether it's me not doing it right, I don't know. Maybe I've set something up where it only lets me keep so many contacts, I don't know. But one of the things I've been doing this year, and again, I think as an industry, or maybe myself, who knows, don't want to bring you in on it, but I think we focus too much on bringing new work in. When we did 10 one-off hedge cuts last year, I did 20, 30, however many gutter cleans did last year. Well, I need to be looking at ringing them up this year, and that's what I've been doing. I look at my earnings, sorry, my sheet last year, so my working out sheet where I knew what I've been bringing in every month. I've gone through that, and I'm ringing through. So the work I did in August, September, again, I was a little bit late, but you know, the exterior cleaning work I did August, September, October, November, I'm looking at ringing them up and booking them in now. Hi, it's Sam. I rung one chap up earlier. Hi, it's Sam. You know, he didn't know who I was, and his missus definitely didn't know. He definitely he sort of knew but didn't know, and he says, "Oh no, we're all right this year." Put the phone down. 5 minutes later, he must have thought, "Oh shit, you know, that's who it was," because it's been a full year. And he says, "Oh, you know, I didn't think I'd hear off you, know." I says, "Oh no," I says, "we did talk about getting them done once a season, you know, whatever, you know, and you know, thought I'd just drop you a call to see if you're interested still." And he goes, "Oh yeah, that's brilliant, because they do want doing all this, you know." And that, for me, I think that was booked out at 100. I think did his fascias as well, so that was like 140 quid's worth of work, 150. And I've not had to advertise to get that. Maybe I'm teaching you suck eggs here. Maybe we all do it, but like I says, we all forget to do it, and I forgot, so maybe you could. But that's like 150 quid of work for a customer that he knows the finish as well, so he knows what he's paying for and he knows what he's getting. So there's no nasty surprises. There's no nasty surprises for me because I've already done the work. It's brilliant, you know. He's done that. I did that while I was doing someone's edging. Absolutely brilliant. So that's like a customer from last year for nothing. Brilliant. So I will be ringing around every single person. I've also got my advertising going in for this year. So again, what I will be doing is any new work, any new inquiries. Hi, do you mind if I just take your email address? Because what I want to do at the start of this coming season, I want to send out a chain email. So do something through MailChimp. So all of my, you know, new leads from this year, I'm not so much concentrating on my existing customer base. I will, when I do my Christmas cards, I will be asking for email addresses, but I've got a feeling that, you know, some of my customers haven't got email, but, you know, and they might not with the new customers, but they might do. But the idea is I can have, you know, 20 or 30 emails addresses from previous customer or new inquiries, even new inquiries that lead to nowhere. So I have quite a lot of people ring up throughout the year for gutter repairs. I pass them on to another chap, but they've shown willing to ring me, and the very least that so the price for me answering the phone in air quotes is, "Hi, while we're on the line, do you mind, you know, as part of the what do you need doing, you know, all this sort of stuff, part of it is, do you mind if I just take your email address?" And I can't imagine many people having a problem with that, but if it is that they do, then, you know, it's, you know, what they're going to do, say no. They say, "Oh no, you know, I don't want you having me." Okay, that's no problem at all. It's just we use it to keep, you know, existing customers in the loop on what services that we offer, and that's it. It's as simple as that. You want to be doing this because you imagine you've done a year's worth of work, you know, you've got last year's worth of customers, you know, contact details or work that you've done last year. That's brilliant. But then you've got you've got this year's as well. So you've got 2 years worth of work, whether you might have only worked for a few of them or you might have worked for a lot of them, but it's still work, and it's still work for existing customers, you know. it's brilliant. It's going to be hopefully a game changer. Like I said, you know, I've netted myself, you know, 140 quid worth of work, one-off work, and if I remember right, it was a nice, steady, easy-ish job, if I can remember right. So, you know, don't ever sort of sleep on it. Don't ever sort of forget about your previous work. You want to be ringing round. I had it this year with a customer, and sometimes I think to myself, well, I've not heard of them last year. I must, you know, you must have found somebody, and that is the case. But you've got to remember, not everybody is as good, or should be as good at keeping, you know, email addresses. So I hope this video helps, guys. As usual, keep on gardening and get those databases built up. Have a good day, guys.